and the Masters of the Universe.
He-Man and the Masters of the Universe is my favorite cartoon series of all time. I don't think any other show has the same kind of combination of fantasy and sci-fi, goofy characters and dark badass settings, great action, hilarious and cheesy comedy, and some of the most awesome character names in any cartoon. Today I'm listing my top 10 favorite episodes from He-Man, and a bit later my bottom 10 as well. To make a few things clear, all these episodes are from the first season of He-Man. That's simply because Season 2 has never been released in its entirety on DVD, and I haven't seen episodes from it. But Season 1 alone was 65 episodes long, so I think this list is very representative of the overall quality of the show at its best. There were also several awesome episodes I would have liked to have put up here, but couldn't, so a few honorable mentions are in order. Teela's Quest, Prince Adam No More, Driel's Return, Return of Granomir, The Sleepers Awake, The Taking of Grayskull, House of Shakoti Part 2, and The Huntsman. Now let's get on with the list. At number 10, The Cosmic Comet. This very early episode from the series is one of my personal favorites. It almost feels like a mini Disney movie. Zagraz, the keeper of the comets, has lost his confidence when he creates an evil comet, and Skeletor intends to use the comet's power to get into Grayskull. Zagraz is a really sympathetic figure, and the story is very inspirational and well done. It does have a few dodgy animation moments, but also one of my favorite Man-at-Arms lines.
Wow! That thing ate Teela's freeze ray like it was ice cream.
Let's see it chew on this.
An excellent episode as an introduction to the series. Number 9, Like Father, Like Daughter. Outwardly, this might appear to be just your average stock episode, where Skeletor plans to take over Eternia with the use of a robotic army. It was the first He-Man episode I ever saw, and it's the standard to which I compare all other episodes. The stock footage usage is great and consistent, the dialogue is pretty darn good for such a stock episode, the pacing is great, and it has my favorite henchman pair of Trapjaw and Beastman. This is just a really entertaining episode, and absolutely worth the watch. At number 8, Return of Orko's Uncle. This episode is the follow-up to Orko's favorite uncle, which introduces the character of Montork, but you don't need to see the first episode to understand what's going on in this one. Basically, an evil witch and wizard try to combine forces to defeat Orko's uncle Montork. Because it's an Orko episode, it's got a lot of goofy lines and physical comedy, but also a great message, and, need I say it, evil Orko. The only reason this episode isn't higher is that Azrog just has a really annoying voice.
You'll never get away with this, Montauk!
Number 7, The Dragon Invasion. This episode is notable on many levels. Skeletor steals some dragon eggs and uses a growth serum that turns the dragons gigantic the instant they hatch. Not only does he cause a lot of havoc with the dragons, he manages to capture the sorceress and enter Castle Grayskull. This is one of only 3 episodes where I know he's done that. The first scene is one of the best in any He-Man episode and even made my list of top 5 Skeletor moments. However, the final fight with Skeletor is kind of lame, which is why I'm not giving this episode a higher spot, and it features a pretty pathetic one-off appearance by Jitsu.
You trapped the sorceress in the dragon world.
Number 6, Dawn of Dragoon. It's another Orko episode and one of my personal favorites. Orko's magic pyramid brings a girl Trollin named Driel to Eternia, and Orko goes with her to defend his homeworld from a creature called Dragoon. This episode has loads of brilliant moments, and both Dragoon and Driel are some of the best original characters conceived for the show. Dragoon is just badass, but he actually gets some character development, and Driel becomes Orko's girlfriend and returned in later episodes.
You're beautiful!
Number 5, The Creatures from the Tar Swamp. The title sounds like a cheesy B-movie from the 1950s, but this is one of my absolute favorite episodes. Adam's bitchy cousin, Lady Edwina, comes to visit and Orko falls head over heels for her. He tries to impress her by finding his magic medallion, which he lost when Orko first came to Eternia. However, Skeletor resurrects monsters that have perished in the swamp, which starts off this episode. Firstly, I love this episode because it introduces Orko's origin story. Secondly, Skeletor actually takes over Palace Eternos, which is pretty dang impressive. Thirdly, it has my favorite character intro by Stratos. Fourthly, the climax moment of this episode has some brilliant sound mixing. And finally, though Lady Edwina was annoying enough to earn a spot on my bottom 5 most annoying He-Man characters list, she gets what's coming to her in the end. Number 4, The Quest for He-Man. Quite possibly one of the weirdest He-Man episodes, but also one of the best. He-Man has his memories erased by Skeletor and sent to a polluted alien world where he befriends a bird lady named Leedle. This is the introduction episode of Zodak, the Cosmic Guardian, and has the best combination of heroes going out to save He-Man. Orko, Cringer, and fucking Ram Man. However, by far, this episode's best aspect is the villain, Plunder the Spoiler. I think this environmentally themed episode is bizarre enough to keep you interested, and I like that it never gets overly preachy. I think everyone needs to see this episode. Number 3, The Search for the VHO. Without question, the funniest He-Man episode by far. Basically, Teela is given the task of delivering a variable high-frequency oscillator to an explorer and his son who are trapped in their home by hostile animals. This episode has got some pretty dang stupid moments to begin with, but it's also got lots of great underwater animation, a well-done fight between He-Man and the giant monster, and the single most disturbing moment in any He-Man episode.
No! Yes.
You will not be able to keep a straight face through this episode, I guarantee it. Number 2, Evil Seed.
Back up, muscle boy.
This is a great episode where a villain named Evil Seed forces both He-Man and Skeletor to join forces when he manages to capture all of their allies. This episode not only has some excellent animation, I just love the idea of He-Man and Skeletor having to work together. And though Evil Seed doesn't look like a very threatening villain, he gets perhaps the best death scene of any character from the show. And number 1, The Reign of the Monster. Well, here's a puzzle for you. What creature has sharp teeth, a horse's head, tentacle arms, laser eye beams, devil horns, and epic heavy metal hair? Fucking Mulcrum!
Foolish mortals, say hello to Mulcrum.
Reign of the Monster is a brilliant episode with a dark look and a great monster for He-Man to go toe-to-toe with. Even most of He-Man's battles with Skeletor aren't this epic. It also features Stratos, Avion, and his sister Delora. It's also got some comedic moments, and overall is one of the most intense episodes of He-Man, and still my personal favorite. Tune in next time for my bottom 10 He-Man episodes.